All right, hello. I have 2 more days left in New Jersey. Today's Sunday. I'm leaving on Wednesday to head west. All right, so this video you're about to watch is my first in a series of videos that will be, I'm going to have them on a playlist on their own, and it will be interviews of artists that I interview during my journey. This particular artist, his name is Brian, and I actually met him on a dating site. We went on a date. We went on 2 dates, and I think we went on a 3rd date, and then we decided that the dating thing wasn't going to go anywhere, but we stayed friends, and he's a photographer, and he shot a wedding with me, and we've stayed in touch, and we've hung out, and we probably talk maybe once a week, and we text all the time, and we're Facebook friends. And so anyway, I think very highly of him, and I asked him if I could interview him about a photography club that he's been in for a while. So I hope you enjoy this, the first of many artist interviews. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you're the first to find out when a new video goes up. Thanks. Enjoy. Good morning, Brian, and welcome to
Good morning.
Camper Coffee Talk.
Cheers.
I didn't open mine yet. Cheers. All right.
We'll have to do that again.
All right, hold on. All right.
Cheers to the new grandma.
Aw, thanks. So Brian just got to see and hold my grandson. What'd you think?
It's cute.
And I asked him if I looked like a grandma, and he was treading lightly. Is that the term?
Yeah, I said yes.
No, you said, well, what does a grandma look like?
Yeah.
All right, so Brian the reason I asked Brian to come here today is one of the things that I'm going to do on the road is find artists to interview. And I thought you did something very interesting. You joined a photography group. So can you tell everyone, my 111 subscribers and all the people that are new to my channel, where did you find this photography group and what is it?
So the group that I belong to, I found out from a friend of mine, because I've been a photographer pretty much all my life, but I'd say more like the last 10 years along more seriously than before. But so a friend of mine told me that he was in a group with just a bunch of guys, and they all get together, and it's fun.
Wait, is this No Girls Allowed?
No Girls Allowed. So it's a bunch of guys that all just get together once a month, and we all take pictures, and then we kind of have this routine where we all share what happened during the month. Some of it's complete stories about things that really didn't happen. One of the guys that started the club is a jokester, so whenever he tells his share, you don't know if he's telling the truth. So one time he was telling us a story. I know I'm going off on the tangent here,
okay.
but he
What
told.
do you mean? So when you go to the meeting, you have
We all sit
period?
around a table.
Okay.
So we go through this routine and we collect dues, and with the dues we end up going out to dinner. We do an annual dinner where we all go out and the club pays for it, and it's.
Do you bring a plus one?
No plus one, just the group.
Really, no girls allowed.
Just the group.
This
just
is
the group.
strict.
Just the group, and and we go for a really nice steak dinner. So anyway, so this one guy who started the group is he's really funny, and you never know if what he's telling is a true story or not, because he's so good at storytelling. So the one story he told was that he was coming home from Atlantic City, and he saw a car on the side of the road that was in an accident, and he went out to see if he could help, and he went down and he helped this guy out of the car, and it was Leonardo DiCaprio. So Leonardo DiCaprio was so thankful that he helped him that he gave him $30,000.
What?
Mailed a check to his house, and he went out and bought a new car with that $30,000. So the car that he drives was because of the money that he got from Leonardo DiCaprio. So
that sounds like he has a wife that won't let him spend his money, so he had to make up a story. That's what I think. That's what I think.
I don't know. Could be. But he's a very interesting guy that...
and he started the group?
He started the group with a bunch of guys. It goes back to 1985 when they started the group. And he is a Finnish carpenter. He's a cabinet maker, Finnish carpenter. So he's incredibly handy.
Nice.
But now that he's retired, he is a painter. And he paints beautiful work. He does mostly portraits.
Nice.
And his wife is just as into it as he is. And
that's cool.
It's amazing how talented he is. In addition to being, cabinet maker and being a Finnish carpenter.
Yeah.
And then he paints and he takes great photos. And the story with the club is that a lot of the guys, it's just really a social group. We all get together, and the pictures, you still want to take a great picture, and you still get upset if you don't win.
Yeah. So win what? We didn't talk about what you do yet.
You accumulate points, and you get a quarterly.
I mean, what? It's a contest of like.
You pick a subject, yeah. So you pick in the end of the previous year, we pick out 12 subjects. Actually, we all pick more than that, and then we vote, and we end up with 12 subjects, one for every month. And then you take pictures for that month, and they're put up on a board, and we all go and we judge. And the winning, you get points for first, second, third, and fourth.
Okay.
You can't vote for your own picture, so you have to put what your own picture is, put the number on there, so you can't vote for your own picture. And then every quarter, the winning points, whoever's winning at that quarter, gets $20.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's like 20, 15, 5, but 20, 15, 10, and 5.
Okay, and you actually won, was it April's contest?
I did, yeah. And even though I have the best gear, I don't always win. In fact, I almost never win. I've only won twice.
Right.
So, it's really all about the subject, the content, everything that makes a good picture. And there are some guys in the group that are just really good at putting together pictures. They're much more creative than I am. They're more.
Their mind, right.
They're just, and so it can be a cell phone that takes the winning picture.
Yes.
Or it can be the high-powered lens shots that, that I take sometimes. And sometimes it's a cell phone picture.
When I was shooting weddings, dad of the bride came up to me at the reception and he said, "What makes for the best picture? A good camera or a good subject?" And I said, "Neither, it's the photographer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah, because you have to know to compose it that way. You have to know what settings to put on the camera. You have to know that that's a subject worth photographing.
Yeah.
It can't just be a picture of something cool. It needs to be a cool picture."
Right.
Know?
And I would say that in my mind, I'm technically a good photographer. I know how to set things up. I know how to set the camera settings.
Right.
I know all but I think that what I lack is what I see in you is the ability just to see beauty in something that you may walk by 100 times and not even notice. And that's what the difference to me between being a real artist and being someone who just takes pictures like I do.
Yeah, when I was in college, I didn't think of it this way, but my drawing teacher, it was one of my teachers, it might have been our art history teacher, they defined art as something that someone looks at that makes them feel an emotion. So something that someone creates that makes someone else either feel angry or sad or confused, anything like that. It makes the viewer feel something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get too off.
Okay, so where did I leave off? So we do this share, like I was talking about, and then we vote for the photos, and then inevitably, there's a 0 points or last place person, and then there's a first place person, and even when I won, I still felt bad for the people that didn't get any points because I've been there too. You know what I mean? And you go into this judging, and you just don't know because they're just voting on whatever they like. It's not, you're not looking for a certain thing, and so you don't know if you've got the winning picture, you know. And there have been times where I showed up where I took a great picture, I think, but I got no points for it, or you know, because of whatever it is. So my conversation with the club has been, we should be taking pictures that the winning picture for every month is something that you'd put on your wall. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you would
that
want...
it can be appreciated.
It could be something that's really artwork. But, you know, a lot of times we're picking subjects that are really difficult subjects, like macro abstract. You know, things like that, where it's like, you know, you have to really explain what macro abstract is. But, you know, a couple times it was pictures of matches. You know, and I took what I thought was a really nice picture of a matchbook, and it was short focal length, so it blurred out the background, and I didn't do well. So you feel really bad.
I like that the themes are so diverse, and you're forced to use that theme. Because it forces you to be creative. It forces you to do something that you wouldn't have done on your own. And you know, you wouldn't have said, "Oh, I'm going to take a picture of a matchbook today." You know.
It does force you to do that. But it's funny because you sometimes have to plan your year out, because it may be that you know, the way that it works out, the subject you're going to want a photo earlier in the year that doesn't come up until October, November, and then if you wait until October, November, it's too late to take the picture that you wanted to take. You know, depending on seasons, or if you're traveling, and you know,
like if you made up the theme pink and you were thinking you wanted to do a cherry blossom, but the pink theme ends up coming up in November, well, there's no cherry blossom.
No,
So
I'm
just gonna make sure the timer's going still. Okay.
So this subject was water splashing.
Water splashing.
Water splashing. So it was something that you really had to think about. And you know, I live near the beach, you live near the beach, and it didn't occur to me until one morning that, you know, I was thinking about other things, you know, like birds in a bird bath, things like that. You know,
the first thing that came to my mind, being a new grandma, was a kid playing in a bathtub. Splashing water.
Splashing water. But you don't put people in the picture, so people don't end up in the picture. So
you can't have
people. No people.
Ever. In any of the themes?
No.
That's interesting.
No people. Which is good and bad. I mean, sometimes you know it would be nice to.
I can see why. But sometimes if there's a person in the picture, that ends up being the subject. But also, when you say splash, I'm thinking kids playing in a
water
spray
park.
ground.
Spray ground.
And you get some really good playful images.
One of the pictures that I liked, that I gave the most amount of points for, was dropping something into a glass and the water splashing out of the glass was really cool. It's kind of like a stop action shot. And it didn't. I don't remember how many points it got, but that was my favorite out of the ones. You know. So I didn't really. I looked at that picture and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to win this time either. You know, because that's, you know, it's frustrating when you're competitive, even though the point is not winning. It's the taking of the shot, and you know, being happy with what
you know what it would be for me, because I don't think I'm about winning. I mean, it's nice to get compliments, but when I think of the critiques we had in photography class, what I liked seeing, we'd have the same thing. We'd have a topic, and then the way all our different minds decided to solve that problem. It's like completely different picture. Everyone took completely different pictures of different things. And it's like, oh, look what they did. Look what they did. You know, I was just fascinated with that.
Well,
and as an art teacher, seeing this is the assignment and all the kids doing completely different things to meet the criteria of the assignment, that's my favorite part of it.
Well, I think, you know, you and I both shot a wedding together.
Yes.
And looking at your pictures and then looking at my pictures, it was... there was a big difference.
The ceremony ones were similar.
So but I think that the way
pumpkin lady,
the one thing that we're taking pictures, and
I'll put a picture of the pumpkin lady here.
You know, this woman had to be. This is a wedding that was on Halloween.
Aurora, the bride, is a subscriber of mine. So the bride is one of my subscribers.
So it was on Halloween. I won't explain it. It's on Halloween, but you had told me that one of your pet peeves is when people you're there as a professional photographer with the professional camera
that the bride hired to get these pictures.
And then these women or men, get in front of
these
you with
men in photography clubs.
they get in front of you
away.
with their cell phone pictures, and they're in your shot with their cell phone because they're so excited to get the picture out and tag themselves at the event. A minute after they take the picture, rather than being concerned with getting the best shot for the new couple. So that's what you mean by the pumpkin lady was someone who got in the shot.
And not only did she get in the shot, she was wearing a big bright orange pumpkin,
you couldn't get her out of it.
Pumpkin costume. Oh, and we couldn't get her out of it because she was standing right behind the altar.
Yeah.
She was right behind the altar.
Yeah, so that was, but my point is that looking at your pictures and looking at my pictures, you're an artist that is a photographer. I'm a photographer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't consider myself an artist in the same way. So your pictures, your mind is always working to get the artistic shot. So
I think you're too hard on yourself because I'm about to talk about your photograph, and there's a lot of things you did that are what makes it like a really great photograph, and I don't think you realize what you're doing, but you're doing it.
If that's the case, I got lucky.
Really? No, I think it's just in you, and you're not realizing.
Well, you know what I was doing with that photo is I wanted to get
the stop motion
with stop motion and depth of field, so that you had varying levels of focus, like the focal point. So if you look at the picture, first of all, I made sure that the background is good and the horizon was level.
Yes.
Which you can do after the fact.
Yes.
But
it's always better if you can get it in camera.
Yeah, and then I wanted to make sure that I was close enough so that there were some specks of water that were completely razor sharp focus.
Yes.
And then some of it was blurred before and after.
Yep.
So that's where using the skill of knowing what lens to use and
the depth of
of field, aperture, depth of field. So that's what helped a lot with the picture.
Okay, that is a very small part. So I'm gonna post his picture up, probably almost full screen as I talk about this. Now what I'm seeing, your exposure is perfect. Nothing is blown out. You see all different whites and light grays and grays in the water. There's no way blown out whites at all. The darks, there's nothing too dark. You can see all the darks in there. And then look at your composition. They say this rule of thirds. You have the rocks and then the white
right.
and then
yeah.
What?
You're right.
What? What?
You're right, Miss Jones.
So you're doing that. You're balancing the composition, and you don't even realize you're doing it. That's something that a lot of people don't do. And it's almost like, look at this. You have this, and you have this. You have little white, little black. Big white, big black. So those of you that are looking at the picture, on the left, he has a huge section of white wave, and on the bottom right, he has a huge section of black rock. Maybe I'll circle it on the screen. And then on the bottom left, he has a thin section of black rock, and then on the top right, there's a thin section of white splash. And then you can't control what the wave is doing, but that part you did get lucky about, that the white speckle is just evenly speckled over that blue water. You know? It's beautiful.
Yay.
And you don't even know what you did. You're all depth of field and sharp water. Yeah, that's great, but look at the composition too and the exposure. Now, did you just, was that your exposure? Did you have to do dodging and burning, or did you?
Oh no, well, that's the one thing with the club is you're not allowed to do anything
so this
other
was
than
in camera.
As shot.
Nice.
Well, the one thing that you are allowed to do is
JPEG?
change I shot in RAW, but you're allowed to change brightness or
Exposure.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you can only do what you could have done 35 years ago when the club started, when you brought your pictures to get developed. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
back then you could tell them to brighten or darken, or contrast. There was only
Okay.
a couple things you can do.
But
back
when
then.
you developed your own film and made your own prints, you can dodge and burn, but you're
Yeah.
not allowed to in the club.
No, it really, the whole point is to keep it as close to as shot as possible, because
Okay.
I mean, I did in the club, I did do what they call a tech talk, where you bring something in and you could talk about something that you think is interesting for the rest of the group. And I did a tech talk with Lightroom just to show what you can do with a shot and what you can do with the processing part of it. You know, not even talking about dodging or burning. It was just changing the white balance, changing some of the things that are very basic, but that was part of what we call a tech talk.
So it stopped recording, and I think it was when we were talking about Easter. What was the last thing you were just talking about? We're talking about some things that he thinks I need to see.
Oh, in South Dakota, Badlands National Park and Mount Rushmore and Sturgis and the Black Hills. And if you are going to do that, let me know and I'll
Yeah.
give you some pointers
Okay.
of where to stop.
Yeah, and he travels for his work, so we might see Brian again on some of my videos, because when I'm out west, he goes out west for work sometimes. So I'm gonna call him both. You're gonna keep up with me on my
I'll
videos.
keep up with you anyway, yeah. I'm
So
a subscriber. I think I'm a subscriber, aren't I?
You better be.
I think I better make sure.
Did you
yeah.
enter my contest?
I don't think I did.
There's a contest. I'll put the link to the video in the description. I'm having a contest. I have a sign that says home, and there's a plaque above it.
Uh-huh.
So everybody has to think of something for me to put in there above where it says home, but not home sweet home. Anything but that, or there's no place like home.
Okay.
Those two things are out. Big X, out. And so everybody leave that in the comments of the other video. And then my next Camper Coffee Talk, I'm going to list the top 3 that I like the most. And then my viewers are going to vote on which of those top 3. And then whatever one wins. 1, I'm going to put that on the sign. But 2, they win a new 12 cup stainless steel Coleman percolator. Because I bought one, but then I found my dad's old used one that we had camping, and it's more meaningful to me. So I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to
Auction or giveaway.
yeah, prize out my giveaway, the new one.
Did a nice job with your bangs, by the way.
Thank you. Did you watch that video?
That's my favorite one. Because you're like,
I know. And I would only do like a centimeter at a time. It ended up being like a 2-hour video. Do you like the bangs?
I like the
Do
bangs.
you genuinely
I like the
them?
bangs. Yeah. It's just so funny because the way you are with, there's nothing that you can't do with your hands. You do,
Aw.
you know, crown molding, which is one of the most difficult things to do in indoor trim work. You know, it's like the wood shop that you have in the garage. You know, there's nothing you can't do. It's so
Aw,
funny.
You're making me blush. All right. All right, is that it? Are
That's
you
it.
glad you came over for Camper
I'm
Coffee
glad,
Talk
and I got to
stuff?
see the baby.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Yeah.
When you leave, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hold him and I'm going to kiss him. And I'm going to sing to him.
Yeah.
I sang him his very first song. I sang to him in the hospital. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did anybody sing to him yet? Am I the first one that sang to him? And I
You
was
should have
just,
brought the ukulele.
I think I'll do that now. Yeah, I think he'd like the flute.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
Maybe I'll do that too. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Go down and click on in the description for the contest, and please enter the contest. You also have to be a subscriber. If you don't subscribe
You don't win.
and you put a comment for the contest, you can't win.
Disqualified.
Yeah, X disqualified. All right, bye.